Mets analyst, and our friend of the show, Jim Duquette. And Jim, you think about everything that's going on right now here. You've been in Florida at some spring training sites here, and Arizona as well. What is the feeling around spring training regarding this?
Well, it's changed a lot, Dan, since I was in Phoenix most recently. And the last, I was there for the media ban, which was on Tuesday. And there was some feeling there that there was even an overreaction at the time, at least among some media members. They were still allowing fans in the ballpark. Now, 48 hours later, literally 48 hours later, they basically have canceled spring training games, and they're until for 2 more weeks. So I think it certainly took a turn. It took, in my opinion, the NBA and the NHL to cancel their season and to have a couple of positive tests with both before Major League Baseball decided to react on this. So listen, MLB didn't want to go to this point, but I think they almost had to because of what's happened with the other leagues.
Jim, as a player myself, and say I was in a situation, like this, where I'd be thinking about, what would I have to do to get ramped up to get ready to play? I'd be thinking for myself, I would need a good 2 weeks or so of not just playing, but, getting in the cage again and doing everything. They're going to stay in shape down there, and they're going to be doing these things. But you're going to want some live game action. You're going to want to see some pitches. You're going to want to be getting ready, for these games. How long does it seem like it's going to take for these teams to ramp up to get ready to go? Are you hearing anything about that?
Yeah, so Anthony, I think that's another issue, right? With if they're going to delay the season by 2 weeks, they've gotten to, I'd say, the workload for pitchers, because we all know we go to spring training, it's just to get the pitchers, to build up the pitchers and their arm strength and the number of pitches. So DeGrom and Syndergaard are about 7 or 8 innings in live games. That's about half of where they need to be. So they take 2 weeks off. They're going to have to be able to at least get another. My opinion would be 10 innings. It could be 3 or so starts minimum, probably more than that. So my guess would be depending on, the further away you have off, the longer it's going to be. But, if it was 2 weeks and they got back in, then I think you could reasonably think that they could get 3 starts in Major League Spring Training and get the necessary innings to be ready for the season. But if it's longer than that, then obviously it's going to be almost as long on the back end, at least 3 weeks. I remember we took a little bit of time. Well, you go back to like 1995 with the strike. I think it was about 4 weeks that we had in spring training. We ramped it up a little bit. And that's probably the minimum if you had a longer delay. Let's say if it was a month delay, as an example.
Jim, here's what I'm fascinated about. I'm fascinated. How is the league going to determine when it is exactly safe to resume baseball activities?
Moose, I think the thing with the league, they're it's a difficult situation because what is going to be the standard that they decide to have Major League Baseball start up again, right? I think that in conjunction, whether they meant it or not, they're going to have to go and come in and I think make this decision in conjunction with the other leagues, obviously the medical staff and the health community itself. They're going to end up being the leaders in this one, but I think they're going to have to join forces with the other leagues and decide together when they're going to decide to return. And there's this myth that because the sport's played outside, that it's okay, it's safer. It's not. I can assure you that anyone who thinks that was the general feeling in spring training in Arizona too. Like, okay, well, the sport's outside, it's safer. It's there's not as much risk. It's not. It's about proximity. To obviously the fans among fans and players around players. So, I think we have to kind of get through that a little bit. But, one other thing, the teams, I think, will be the ones that end up directing this with Major League Baseball. So, when you go back and say, all right, the Mets, the Yankees, all 30 teams were pushing the commissioner to make a decision on spring training. I think you're going to get the same type of feeling with the owners helping direct the commissioner's office in terms of making that final decision to when to return.